Hello everyone, my name is Greg and I dev stuff. Welcome everyone to the episode 6 of Yakuza-like game in Unity. In this episode we will set up the character, HP bar, experience bar, hit bar, energy bar, stuff like this. Clean your root folder. This episode is brought to you by generous support of people on Patreon and members on YouTube. If you want to join them, link to my Patreon in the description and join button available right now on YouTube. Let's fix this warning before we continue. We need to add stagger to the player animator controller. Today we want to expand and set up our character. We want to set up the HP bar, the experience and level, and the hit of the character. Let's begin by building the UI for all those 3 bars we will be having. So create a panel for a player status. Set up the panel to be in the left top corner. Then select the canvas and let's set up automatic scaling of the canvas. Set the UI scale mode to scale with screen size. For the reference resolution we will use the most commonly used resolution today is 1080p. Create an image which we will call bar background and place on the status panel. This will be our background. Inside the background put another image called bar. Now we want to make the bar to slide around. To do that, select the bar background and add a new component called slider. Set the fill rect to be bar inside the background and check whole numbers if your value are integers, like ours HP. Good, now we have a bar. Now let's prefab this bar and create 2 copies to represent the HP, hit and experience. And we want to add a level text counter on the side of the experience bar. Use the one with TextMesh Pro. TextMesh Pro is a better text system for Unity than default Unity text system. If you don't have TextMesh Pro imported, this menu will show up. Click Import TMP Essentials. Set up the text object at the side of the XP bar. We made bars on the screen. Now we need to pass some kind of values to them so they will update their state. Select the UI bar in the project and create another new script called status bar. Cache the slider because we will be using it a lot. Create a new public method called updateBar with two parameters of type integer, current and max value. Assign the current value to slider value and max to the slider max value. As you can see, this bar is pretty simple. That means that we can use it for many different situations. We just need to send him these two values and it can represent anything. We will be reusing this bar script for all kinds of, systems in our game. That is all. Now everything we have to do is to call this update bar from the place which store our value. Right now we have character with his HP, so let's implement the HP on the bar. Open character, add the serialized field status bar for our HP. Assign it in the editor. Now we want to call update bar every time our HP changes. We can do this in every possible place like this, but that will make us repeat the same thing a lot of time. Let's avoid repeating ourselves by making a simple set property. In case the current character doesn't have a bar for HP attached to him, check for not null HP bar, and then call update bar. Let's test this. Good. For some reason, at the start the full heal does not show up on the bar properly. Replace the input module on the event system. I figured it out. I change this current value of the bar before max value, and this causes this weird behavior. This will fix the issue. Let's deal with this annoying warning. Just add check for not null. Great. Good, now let's implement the hit to our character. First turn off the enemy AI agent. So we will be able to beat him up without him trying to retaliate. Actually, to generalize the naming a little and lessen the chances of me getting sued for copyright infringement, let's call it energy instead of the hit. Make serialized variables current and max. Max has default value of 1000. And once again we are seeing the repetition, so let's encapsulate the combination of current and max value into the class. Let's call it car max int or something. Add current and max variables. Add reference to the status bar to use for visual representation. Then create a constructor with car and max parameters as a value. Assign them to the local variables. Add full restore and set to minimum. Then create a new property for car called currentValue. Inside add check for over the max value, then add check for value going under below 0. Make the car variable private, so other programmers will not be able to change this on the fly, and should use currentValue property instead. Do the same for max property. Add the update bar. Now let's replace the HP implementation inside the character. In the editor you will see that we can't simply reference status bar anymore. Add the reference to the status bar and pass it to HP class. So every time you create a structure where you have similarly working values, you just reuse this class. Examples for using this class can be something like skill progression, achievements progression, weapon durability, etc. etc. It works. Now it is easy to introduce new variable like HP, hit, or experience. Just declare CarMaxInt class. So create energy variable using CarMaxInt. Good, we want to increase our energy if we are getting punched by the enemy. Open the character script. Cache the energy script. Then inside the take damage call and create a new method called damage taken. Create a new variable called damage taken energy multiplicator. Then multiply the damage parameter in the new method by this variable. Let's add default value of 1f to this new variable. So that should be pretty clear that this variable will multiply the damage which you took and add it to the energy. That means the higher the damage, faster energy will charge. Higher the multiplicator, faster energy will charge. Let's test this. The reason why bar is not updating is because we did not assign the reference of the status bar to the energy class. While in HP our bar updates at the start, energy doesn't. This is happening because in HP we are restoring our HP to the full at the start, which causes update of the bar. Meanwhile, in the energy we don't restore, so status bar doesn't update itself. Let's move the update bar into a separate method inside the class, and in this case directly call it on the start. Even move the status bar null check into the update bar method. Take a note how much energy we are getting at the moment. Now increase the multiplicator. Good. Progression system is the last thing we will implement today. Progression system will be responsible for making your character stronger over time. After you amass enough experience, it will trigger a level up, which will give you some perk points which you can use to improve your character. Create another new component called character progression. Create a new variable of type char_max_int called experience. Let's add status bar already. Add variable for label and perk points. On start, initialize the experience. For current value pass 0, and for max value we will create and call a new method called getRequiredExperience to level up. which will return the required experience to advance to next level. Create a new serialized variable called experience per level. Then multiply current level by this value, assign the default value to this variable. If you want to change the formula of calculating your experience for next level, you had to do it in this method. Create a new method called addExperience, and inside add the past parameter to the experience. Then create and call a new method called levelUpChecks. Inside check if your current experience exceeds the required amount of experience. Then create and call a new method called levelUp. Inside decrease the amount of experience by the required amount of experience to level up. Increase the level by 1. To perk point add perk points per level, which we will make into variable. And recalculate required experience for new level. As a final touch, let's add Experience Multiplicator, similar like in Energy. To test this, let's add experience every time I press, let's say, left mouse button. Why is it not updating the bar? Oh, again, I'm so sorry, forgot to assign the reference to the bar. Good. As you can see, we are getting more and more experience, and when I fill the bar, it gets back. Last touch. Let's add the level number to the text at the side of the experience bar. Good. Call update bar on the start. Of course, this is not how all the system will work in the end. We will be expanding when and how you acquire energy and experience over the course of this tutorial. Good, this is it for this episode. If you have any questions or any ideas about code, please leave your comment below. If you are interested in seeing what will come out of this, please subscribe. If you want to support further, you can find my Patreon in the description. Special thank you to Andrew V. Long for his generous support. With best regards, see you in the next episode.